Welcome back. I'm for Towers Films.
And Doug 218. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Not bad, not bad.
Hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday night. We are back and recapping Big Brother Canada season number 9, week number 2. It was an interesting week.
Yeah.
Not really surprising week, but an interesting week. There's a few, I guess,
twists and turns along the way.
Interactions that weren't necessarily pleasant for some of them in the house, but mostly seen on the feeds, not really a little bit on the cameras, but you saw a little bit more on the feeds than you saw on the show. But
that's usually the case, though.
Yeah, they tend to edit it pretty heavily for the show, and actually when you can catch the feeds, they're off a lot. So, as we left off, they were in the middle of HOH. So, you didn't know who won HOH yet. Because remember, it's like a quiz kind of thing that they did. So, who ended up winning, which you will see tomorrow night on Monday, is Austin. Oh, no, sorry. That's... last week was Austin.
Victoria.
No, Austin won last week's. Spoiler alert.
Oops.
We'll tell you who won the new for this coming week's HOH at the end of the show. Is that Austin won last week.
And it was like a Hunger Games kind of.
Yeah, they were dressed kind of Hunger Gamesy like. And
they had to balance ball bearings.
What looked like ball bearings on
a
kind
bow.
of like a mock bow. And it was in teams. Mm-hmm. So you had Team Destiny, you had Team Defender. And it's funny, Defender was dropping like flies again. And Destiny actually lasted quite a while, most of the team. And then they started to kind of fall away. Until it came down to just Austin and LaToya.
Yes.
And it's funny, they're both saying, I got you, girl. I got you, girl. And they're like, I got you, too. But you're both on different teams, and they're not really in an alliance together. So, and I don't know if they 100% trust each other that much. So they both held on anyway.
Yeah. And
it ended up being Austin who won it.
Well, when Austin...
After about an hour.
Yeah, which was very impressive, and great job to the ladies to hang out like that.
Yeah, they both looked pretty solid.
LaToya was like rock solid.
Oh, really? So was Austin.
Yeah. But while this is going on, like, Kiefer's off on the sideline talking smack. Oh, she's not going to take it. She's not going to take it. And that's kind of making Austin burn a little bit. So it's like...
Right. Yeah.
Somebody might be in someone's crosshairs if she wins.
Somebody might be, yeah. So, of course, she wins it.
Yeah.
So she's basically considering her options and who to nominate. Now, I mean, basically, it's really no surprise that her main target is Josh. Basically, because the whole house's main target for some reason is Josh. Like, again, the first week, when they were talking about, how much chaos, supposedly, that Josh had done. Now, that was pre-feeds being on, so we didn't really get to see a lot of that. We saw more him talking with Julie,
exactly,
and things like that, and I guess just questioning who's and really wanting to get at the big dogs, but what chaos he caused, kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe in their world it would have been chaos, but we didn't really get to see a lot of that because I was prior to the feeds really being turned on. So
to me, and from what you could see on the show, it's just like he became a set piece, really. He's not really doing all that much, not really talking all that much.
Except to Julie.
Yeah.
I mean, we always saw him talking to Julie, who's, if you remember, was the first one to go last week. But it was, like, I don't know, to us, again, I mean, it's obviously edited, because you only get to see 3 hours of a 24-hour, 7 days in the week kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't know. To me, it didn't look like it caused chaos, but... Again, we didn't get to see the feeds yet, so I guess he did. But And I guess because he was targeting those that were in their alliance, so or that they didn't want to see gone yet.
Exactly.
So I guess that was causing chaos. So I mean, it's really and he knew it, kind of thing. He knows he's kind of on the outs, he's in outskirts, and he basically tried to change her mind about targeting him and saying, "Why are you targeting me? I don't have anybody in this house." And that seems to always be the way.
Exactly, yeah.
With the show is that they always tend to target those that are kind of the outsiders, not really the main targets. Like, not even really who would be a direct competition for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't really want to rock the boat. Now, granted, it is still pretty early in the game, but you would think, isn't it better to get rid of your targets now before they have the chance to get that it's Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
So
play.
Like, why would you not
do something?
Like, do something that would, you know,
make your name.
Yeah, instead of sitting back and kind of picking the easy targets all the time. But, you know. So then we find out that there's an actual alliance in the house that is formed called the Sunsetters. And it's 6. There's Beth, Ty, Jetson, Tina, Latoya, and Kiefer.
Mm-hmm. And Kiefer's the other one that's.
Well, if you remember, he's the team captain of the Defenders. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is it's a cross-team alliance because they basically know that the teams aren't going to last forever.
No, that's
true.
So
they want to already build that kind of trust and that cross-team so that when there is no teams anymore, they actually are still working together. So that's, you know, interesting. And it's funny that there are people in the house that know that there's a bigger alliance. There's actually more than one, which the other one just kind of formed in the last day or so. But I don't know if they've picked a name yet. But I can't even remember all who's in it. But it's about 5 or 6 people in that one. It's almost the exact other side of the house. So everybody pretty much just who's left is in the other alliance. So, but this one started about day 3 or 4.
Yeah.
This one started, so last week. Mm-hmm. Before the feeds were on. So they've been kind of talking and things like that.
Yeah.
And they figure if any of them get put up, they'd have the numbers to protect them and try to steer it towards somebody else if they want to get nominated or get out of the house. So, and of course, really, that's Josh at this point. So basically, we come to nomination, and she, of course, nominates Josh, and she actually nominates Kiefer as well, which isn't really that hard of a stretch.
Well, they also had a conversation, the two of them, and he wanted to say, hey, look, you know, you kind of freaked me out, you know, a little bit, you know, that's why I kind of acted out the way I did, and she's like, yeah, okay, yeah. She's like, if you could have had the subtitle, it would have been whatever, you know, kind of deal.
Well, she listened to him, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of think because she had conversations with other ones, although she did talk with Beth, interesting enough, who's part of the Sunsetters, but she is pretty close to Austin, and she also talked to Brayden. And she initially thought of putting up Latoya, even though they actually kind of had sort of made a deal that they wouldn't put each other up if they had got it.
But she doesn't trust her.
But she doesn't trust her, and she's like saying, you know, am I being kind of silly by not considering putting up Latoya because she is a fierce competitor, you know, and she's smart.
Brayden said, play the game, you know.
Well, you know, yeah, exactly. That kind of goes back to what we were saying. You know, is it really that smart to put up somebody really as a nobody in Josh, or put up somebody like a Latoya who's a stronger physical and strategic player? So it does not make more sense.
I would say yes.
I would too. I mean,
But
but apparently, I guess she decided not to do that.
she went for the easy
She went-
kill.
I think so. So there wasn't much blood on her hands, basically, because she knew it wouldn't upset anybody putting Josh up, really.
Well, I'm sorry, but if I'm there to win, I'm there to play the game. I'm there to win. I'm gonna make moves. Okay, you're not gonna land all of them, but at least you gotta.
You gotta swing because
you gotta swing.
I mean, eventually they're gonna swing on
Exactly.
you. So that's why I don't know. I guess a lot of people think it's playing too hard, too fast, but I mean, I don't know. Don't you want to get rid of? I mean, this isn't Survivor.
No.
It's not going to be a team game for long.
No.
And you don't need your strongest players.
No.
Because you're not playing in tribe form.
No.
So,
You just gotta be smart.
It really is a singular game. So, don't you want to get rid of your biggest competitors first?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how I think I'd want to play it, but I don't know.
I know if we were playing,
That's just me.
You'd take me out. I'd take you out.
Hey, you're talking a lot of money here. You don't go into the game. I mean, yeah, it's nice if you make friends, but that's not the main purpose, or shouldn't be the main purpose.
Exactly.
So, you wanted to get rid of your biggest competitors, I think, first. So, but that's just me. Maybe that's you too.
We at least admit that to each other.
Yeah, I mean that's how it goes. So what's another interesting thing is they got the Have Not room, and funny enough, it's ball pit.
Okay, quick question. How in the heck are they gonna sleep in this darn room?
I don't know. I haven't seen any of them in the ball pit sleeping, but they've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Victoria lost her flip flop in the ball pit. She found it.
She
found
lost
it too.
But the funniest bit of in the whole show was Latoya sitting there like,
oh, it's just deadpan look on her face. She's like, I don't like ball pits.
and then the next shot, she's like partially covered.
All
Like,
I saw was like part of her face, like part of the face. It was funny.
I don't agree with this.
I think it'd be dangerous to sloop in there. You wake up completely covered in balls.
And also, in the time of COVID, that you've got something like this that you cannot properly clean.
I mean, I know they've been tested multiple times before they quarantined for 2 weeks before they even went in. But, I don't know. It's hard to keep... I mean, that's one of the reasons, like, places like IKEA and that no longer have ball pits.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're really hard to clean because there's a lot of balls. So how do you sanitize them?
You can't ever get those things properly.
Not
clean.
really.
So the Have Not room is a
big ball pit.
Big ball pit.
And they've been hanging out. They're playing, so that's...
Especially, like, Victoria. She's, like...
Victoria likes being in
big
there.
Big old kid, man.
The guys the other day were throwing balls at each other, so, they're having fun there. And they actually have a hockey game.
Now that was cute.
Too, in the OLG game room now. And Victoria was in there playing by herself. And giving herself high fives.
Good job! Yeah. Yay! Hey, she,
why not, right?
She was a kid in the foster care system. She learned how to play by herself. So.
That was an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Too, that she had. Who did she talk to?
With Ty.
With Ty about that. Talking about the foster care system, growing up in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting what she was saying.
And it's nice to see that she's trying to have a positive impact. She's not letting her past kind of dictate or what her life was, and she'd love to do something to change that
right.
system. And Ty's like, I really dig that. If there's anything, after this I can do to help,
right?
Let me know.
They want to talk about it more. Well, and it makes sense because, like Ty said, who better than someone who experienced it
mm-hmm.
to know what needs to be changed
exactly.
and how to change it? And
exactly.
I mean, it's true. Like somebody like her who pretty much grew up in that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they know where the shortcomings are because they lived it. So it
yeah.
who better than someone like her? And
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll make an impact. So
So
that was interesting.
Josh suddenly he's sitting there and talking in his Josh voice about how he wants to cause chaos and what he needs to do and
He talks to himself a lot.
and
Well, like he's saying, he goes, he came into this world alone, and he's playing this game alone, and like he said, he'd like to have played it with somebody, but apparently nobody wanted to play with him.
how very Game of Thrones. You know,
Well, I mean, I don't know 100% what went wrong with Julie, but, I mean, it seemed like they were
Went
kind
south-
of working together, and then by
went
the
south
end,
quick. Yeah.
they were at each other's throats almost, so I'm not really sure what went wrong there. They don't really cover that in the show, so I know they've done interviews afterwards. I haven't seen the interview with Julie,
Yeah.
but what she thought went wrong. But I mean, it's almost like he tends to blow up his bridges, so nobody wants to work with him. Maybe like they like him as a person, I think, but they just don't want to work with him.
Yeah, he's too emotional. And
Yeah, maybe that's the case, but you know, he talks to himself a lot about
Yeah.
trying to get himself out of this and what he can do to maybe get the target off his back onto somebody else that's a bigger target.
so he pulled Jedson in, and he's saying like,
He
I heard,
starts dropping seeds.
you know, I heard your name being thrown
Right.
around and
Right.
by Austin and this and that, and
Jetson believed him,
so he's like, okay,
which he did. Like, stuff that he was saying is true.
yeah,
And then, so Jetson had a family meeting, or a
house meeting. And he's like, okay, if any of y'all have something to say to me, say it. If you said my name in any sort of conversation, let's hear it.
And
Crickets.
of course, it was Austin, and Austin said, "When did I ever say your name?" And they actually did show a flashback of the conversation Josh was talking about, and he's like, "He did, you know, you said Jetson and that," and of course she's saying not. That she didn't know. You just do this all the time, Josh, and kind of an example of you trying to blow
Cause
the house and cause drama and all
Yeah.
that, you know. But actually, what he was saying was true.
Yeah.
I don't know if they believed him, but what he was saying was true.
well, you know, he didn't really pursue it with enough kind of
Well, it was just him though. That's
yeah.
the
There was no
problem.
one else,
You know, there's no one else that backed him up. Everybody
Yeah.
else was just sitting there watching. So
and they're all kind of like,
you know,
so
it ends up being a problem. It's just you.
yeah,
You know, so basically they are nominated. Like, she nominated Kiefer and Josh. So then we go to the POV ceremony. And it was basically, they have these wheelbarrows where you have to stack as many apples as you can on them. And the one who stacks the most apples wins.
Yep.
So, and they have to actually cross this, like, winding,
kind of track.
narrow track without falling off. Now
Mhm.
Victoria is playing. She doesn't want to win, but she can't make it look like she's not trying to win either. So she's dragging and she's kind of making it tip a little bit.
It looked pretty obvious that she was throwing
Sometimes,
it.
yeah. You know.
She's like, oh, this is too hard.
But that's kind of who she is
Mhm.
anyway, so I don't know if they really caught on to that. We know because she told us, but...
Yeah.
And so then it was also Tina, obviously Kiefer, Josh, and somebody else. Wasn't there?
Beth,
H-Witch
I
doesn't
think.
play, huh?
Yeah, Beth, I think.
I think. Or, no, or it was Tara. I think.
One of the
Can't
two.
remember, but yeah, I think it was Tara. Anyway, so, Kiefer actually had quite a few, and he was going back and being very careful. Tina was doing the same. But Josh had a weird kind of way of doing it.
I still can't wrap my head around that.
Instead of what they were doing, is stacking it on the wheelbarrow as much as they can, then bringing it back. And then you had to lock in when you were done. He basically started stacking his apples on the floor beside where the barrel of the apples were.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're
What
kind
are
of
you
wasting
doing?
time by doing that. But he said he wanted to plan
How he was going to
how
stack
to
it.
stack them before he put them on the wheelbarrow. And so he spent most of the competition stacking these apples beside the barrel. And so,
Ridiculous.
where everybody else is stacking them on the wheelbarrow and then bringing them back and forth.
Yeah. And everyone else on the side's kind of like,
What are you doing?
what are you doing?
At one point, he even laid down to look at his stack.
Yeah. It's like, what?
It's like, yeah, but
Go!
how if you stack them there? Once you get them on the wheelbarrow, you're going to have to actually change it a little bit because it needs the stability to go across the track.
Yeah, because it's like that curved, it's a curved
It was
run.
a curved, wavy track, so it was
And-
interesting. So finally, he actually did start stacking it on the wheelbarrow about almost most of the way through.
Yeah, it was like, he had
like a few minutes left.
and so Kiefer's like, sod it.
Well, because he thought of coming back one more time.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, chances are this is going to be pretty good, so
I'm
he
gonna
just
lock
locked
it in.
He didn't want to risk going back again. And actually, Josh did. He actually came back again with like seconds, literally, to spare. He got back at 1 second to spare to lock it in. I thought he was
done.
Be disqualified.
Yeah.
So they actually did them in order.
Yeah.
And so I think the last was Victoria, who had the least amount, and then there was like a two-way tie for second and third, which was Tina, I think, and Tara, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came down basically to Kiefer and Josh, and Kiefer won POV.
And he was ecstatic. He's like, yes.
Although he was really the pawn, but you never know, pawns do go home.
Well, yes, if this show has taught us anything, pawns can go out the door.
So Kiefer won POV. So now Austin has to put up replacement.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh goes to work trying to get her to put up a bigger target, and his thinking is Rohan. Because technically, yes, he's good in competitions. He's smart, strategic, and he's kind of in with the bigger guys kind of thing. So he tries to get her. Isn't that the better thing for your game to get rid of Rohan instead of me who's by myself?
Yeah, I'm a lone wolf kind of thing.
Which,
true,
makes sense, right?
It's a sound proposition to put to her.
Right. And actually, she did consider it, and actually so did a lot of the Sunsetters, too.
Yeah.
They thought, it might make sense to get rid of Rohan, because he's going to come after you, and he has actually better chance of taking the shot and hitting than Josh does. So, they almost got it to the point where, they may put up Rohan. Well, she did actually put up Rohan.
And it was, there was a bit of dissension, like, Tina and LaToya are like, okay, like, what's going on? First we're saying we're all voting Josh, now that it's the whole thing with Rohan, what's the deal?
Well, yeah, it kind of, once he was nominated, then they were kind of thinking, well, maybe
we can
he's
flip
there.
it.
Why don't we just flip the vote and get rid of Rohan while we got the shot? Take the shot while we got it. It makes sense.
Of course.
Why wouldn't you go after a bigger target?
Yeah.
And it's funny because then the Sunsetters themselves were kind of
split on it,
a little bit over it, and it ended up kind of being maybe more the guys wanting to stick with getting rid of Josh. Now, the girls are basically saying it's not a bad thing to get rid of Josh because it doesn't leave any blood on their hands. They're still good with Austin. All that kind of stuff, and that was kind of the idea anyway. But what they didn't like is that it was almost like the decision was made by more of the guys in the group, and Tina and LaToya had a bit of a conversation about that, and Tina's saying she doesn't like to be dictated to.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to be involved
I
in
want
it.
to be part of the decision making. I want somebody to tell me who to vote for. So she had a bit of a problem with that. So I don't really blame her. It really should be.
That. Yeah.
It really should be more of a maybe unanimous or decision rather than this is how it's going to be because this is what we decided anyway. So I mean it's I don't think it was really much of a surprise,
No.
but they ended up voting out Josh.
Unanimously.
Yeah, first unanimous is Josh, because even Julie had 2
Yeah.
for her. So, but unanimously got rid of Josh. I don't think he was surprised by
No.
that at all.
No.
I don't think anybody was.
No.
So then, of course, they didn't finish seeing it the next HOH,
Mm-hmm.
which is a quiz kind of thing, where they pick the one who wins.
Picks the next
Picks
pair.
the next pair. So they didn't have time to finish it. But the winner this week is Victoria, which you will see tomorrow, the ending of the HOH. But all in all, what'd you think of the week?
A lot of twists and turns.
Kind of. Not really. I don't think there was much of a surprise.
No.
Really?
Yeah, I feel sorry for the kid. I feel sorry for Josh. I wish he had not taken such a. I don't want to. I hate to use this term, a stoner approach to it. Like, oh, I'm gonna see what I can do.
Well, see, that's what I mean. Maybe because the feeds weren't up
Yeah.
that much. I mean, almost every time I checked them, they were off. But I don't know if I saw him creating chaos that much.
No.
I guess he did.
Kiefer.
To me, he sounded like he talked to himself more than anything.
Kiefer seems like a nice dude, but he needs to calm down. Like, he winds himself up like a cheap watch, and even Latoya's like, you need to chill.
Mm-hmm.
You need to relax.
Mm-hmm.
We've got you.
Yeah.
And he was firmly convinced, even before the POV. He was done. He was gone.
Even though he's in
Not-
an alliance of 6.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like he didn't trust his own alliance, that they wouldn't vote him out. Because like they said, there's 6 of them. They've
Mhm.
got the numbers in their favor. They pretty much control who they want in or out, really. Yeah. Even if they force a tie, Austin didn't want Kiefer out. She wanted Josh, so either way, when it gone. But,
Yeah.
But he seems to be almost paranoid
Yeah,
at
very,
times. So.
very, very insecure
Yeah.
and stuff. And
Which isn't going to bode well for his
No,
game if he keeps
no.
it up.
no.
We're only 2 weeks in.
Latoya, to me, she's looking like she could be a dark horse.
I think she's very strategic.
Yeah.
She's strong physically.
She's got that calculating look. Like,
Yeah, and she doesn't get rattled.
no.
She's strategic, so. Her and Tina, I think, will make a good team. They're their final 2, and, they're pretty strong together, so.
And Tina does, Latoya's got Jedson and Ty in her back pocket as well.
Yeah, because I remember the first week, it was the 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, and then now, of course, there's 6, but they're kind of the 3. And then, I mean, that's how you survive, and that's how you build a strong foundation, is you have these 3, then you have the 6, and then you have the 2, and that, I mean,
you always have the numbers in your favor.
All the ones who've ever won this have done that.
Yeah.
So.
It'll be interesting to see as the weeks go.
Oh, and by the way, the teams are done.
So it's every man and woman for themselves.
Now, 2 weeks in, teams are done.
Big twist.
Didn't last long.
So it'll be interesting to see as the weeks go on, like how the power dynamic shifts. But so far, yeah, I'm digging it.
Yeah, pretty good for 2 weeks in. Not really much of a surprise. I mean, you figured Julie and Josh would be the first 2 to go, so that's how it goes. Not really surprising there, but anyway, it was pretty good next week, and the next week starts tomorrow, so hopefully you will come along with us and watch and enjoy Big Brother season number 9. Well, that's it for this one. Guys, thanks for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live talking about Big Brother Canada. What?
It's over there. I keep forgetting.
It's over here.
Yeah. Oh, over here. Okay.
It's over here. So anyway, we will see you next week, guys.
See you guys. Bye.